microphones look stupid.
You don't like these?
I don't really like them.
Yeah, that's okay. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Discount Property Investor Podcast. Mike and I have been kind of absent on the podcast, but we're back.
Well, we're doing some podcasting. I think our goal is to change it up, though, and just do lives.
Yeah.
And we'll record it. We can push it out to the podcast as well, which makes sense since our topics are not going to be much different. Real estate investing, all things real estate investing as always, and how to make money. On the lives, though, and this is something we can change, obviously, as we're doing them, but I want to kind of try to daily go into like a daily topic of like what's happening now. So like current market trends, and I don't know, what are your thoughts on that, Dave? Go into hyper-local, go into St. Louis, or should we try to keep it more national?
We can do a little bit of both. I think probably more national, I think makes more sense. But I like the idea of just picking a topic, doing more lives like this that will hit the podcast channels as well. So, provide education, tips and tricks. Also talk about some of the stuff that we offer that can be beneficial and helpful to the audience, to the viewers, to the live viewers, of course, so on and so forth. So first and foremost, I want to mention Real Estate School is an awesome community that Mike and I have built. The community is about a year old, I believe, at this point. We got about 250 members.
That's great.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And we're going to be building that community out. We have a new software launching here in probably about another 2 weeks, which is really super exciting. By joining the community, you get access to weekly live coaching calls. We do those on Wednesday evenings, and we might even have a random call throughout the week that we pop in during the day as well. We have courses on wholesaling, fix and flipping, landlording, BRRRR method, private money, etc. All types of cool stuff in there, lots of value.
I'm not saying we don't do coaching, but I do feel like we've shifted more to provide more content outside of like a coaching program, right? I mean, that's kind of
training, education.
Yeah, training, education.
But the community is really that. It's a community.
Right.
It's there to help. It's there to, provide like-minded individuals a place to have a soundboard and be able to ask questions and network. There's courses in there. We do a coaching call, which is kind of a hybrid between a coaching call, training with different topics. Again, that's Wednesdays in the evening. I think we do that at 7 p.m. Central Time as of right now. The cost to join Real Estate School is super, super affordable. Once the software launches, that will be about 2 weeks out. That will be something that we're going to actually start including with the Real Estate School membership and subscription, which is really, really cool. No long-term commitments of any types, which is
we haven't
amazing.
really figured out how we're going to tie those two together. But we'll figure it out.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
We're going to get it launched first and foremost. But if you guys are looking for some help, it doesn't really matter, honestly, if you're brand new to this business and you're wanting to learn how to get started investing, do your first fix and flip, start wholesaling, maybe utilize the BRRRR method to, buy rental properties with little to none of your own money. We're using the BRRRR method on some other type of creative real estate investing right now, where we're selling financing deals, all sorts of great stuff inside there, which is amazing.
Let's talk a little bit about our business.
Let's
talk
do it.
about where
Let's
we're
jump
at and what we've got going on. So our biggest project / problem / mental energy exertion, besides launching the new software, is probably the apartment or motel to apartment conversion that we took on a little bit further south of us. And I think for that reason, we learned a pretty valuable lesson, is that we don't really want to do projects outside or an hour away.
Yeah.
Like if we're going to do a project that's big, maybe do it freaking 6 hours away so we're not able to drive to it or something. I don't know. Huge time suck. We drove down there, I can't tell you how many times. I bought my car in February. I got 26,000 miles
It's a
on it.
lot, man.
Yeah, so we're doing some decent amount of driving, and it's a lot of time. So I think we learned that we don't necessarily want to do something like that again outside of our primary market, again, unless it's really far away to where we're not driving.
Right.
I mean, that's kind of what I think. I don't know.
That's definitely
Yeah.
I mean, what has been, well, first and foremost, for those of you that don't follow us super closely, Mike and I bought a 67-unit motel down in Bonne Terre, Missouri, and we converted it into a 40-unit apartment complex. We're at roughly 90% occupancy, just under, but we're getting there. And it has been, quite the project. It's been 2 years in October, so I think we're 25 months into this project. We've sold off a lot of rentals and small apartment complexes to get this thing across the finish line. Tons and tons of lessons that we've learned along the way to get this this project purchased, rehabbed, and
We're so
occupied.
close, though, and we've got a good chunk of equity in it still. So we're not, I mean, we're hurting, but we're not hurting,
Yeah, it's just been it's been a time suck, and it's
Yeah.
been a lot of lessons. I think my biggest lessons, I'm actually curious to hear some of yours, but I think the 1 or 2, 3 biggest lessons that I've taken away from this, number one, when you buy a motel and you convert it, especially going from 67 down to 40 doors, the cost to rehab it was just way more than we anticipated. So, it's a whole different beast that we hadn't done. I'm happy to have that on my resume. I don't think I'm going to be doing any more anytime soon, though, right? So, you had mentioned duration or distance is a better word. Being far away is not super ideal when you're rehabbing, and spending $1.5 million on rehabs.
Yeah.
Dealing with the contractors and all that stuff is challenging. The property managers are doing pretty good, but you're still having to manage a lot of things: property managers, materials, contractors and crews, city and county, and just all that stuff.
Yeah, and we're pretty hands-on too, so I mean that kind of plays a part in it as well. Anyway, so your lessons were
So number one, it's like, when you buy something like that and you convert it, at the end of the day, when you're going to sell it, and we're going to, either sell it or refinance it here once we get to 90%, hopefully in the next week or two, I'll start marketing it and whatnot. But, it still looks like a motel, right? So you can convert it into apartments, but at the end of the day, it still kind of looks like a motel because all the doors are on the outside and whatnot. I think that's number one.
well, the way we did it, it does. Like again,
Right.
if we would have spent another
500 grand, I mean,
yeah,
300 grand, something
bricking up
crazy.
all half the doors,
It would
and
have been a lot, yeah. So, it still looks like that. Being far away wasn't super ideal. And then number 3, like just the amount of resources that we had to commit to pulled us away from, building our single family rental BRRRR business.
yeah, and I think there's something to that as well. So this is one of my lessons: is to stick to what you know. We got a good deal, and we converted or kind of turned over or flipped an apartment complex in that area, and that was a good learning experience. And then I think we said, okay, we did it with that one. Let's one up a little more, and we can do this one. So I think we just took on a little bit bigger project than we should have. So it's stick to what you know, and I think that we are single family. Investors.
Small apartment complex investors.
Yeah, I mean, again, I think 12, 20 units maybe. More than that, I think is just too much for my comfort level.
Agreed.
So, anyways, that was my lesson.
My biggest takeaway, though, and I kind of had this epiphany over just the last couple of days, actually. And Mike, I don't even know if I've shared this with you yet, but I do a lot of contemplating when I'm out walking in the evenings or at the gym or, sitting in the sauna, hot shower, you name it, right? All the good stuff like that. But I think my biggest takeaway is that, we all hear this, the verbiage or the adage, maybe that's the wrong way to look at it, but, with risk comes reward, or bigger risk equals bigger reward. And, that's not necessarily always true. Like, you don't necessarily have to take big risks to get a reward. Like, look at wholesaling, for example. Like, you can go do a $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 wholesale deal with virtually no risk. right? And in this project, we took a lot of risk. We've got multiple mortgages, and we've had to sell off a lot of assets, and we've even used some credit cards to provide some materials towards the end when we were running out of money for the first or second or third time, and that's okay, right? We've learned a lot, but you don't necessarily have to take a lot of risk to have a big reward. I think that might be just my number one takeaway right now, today.
That's a good, I mean, so projects were harder to, that was weird. Projects were harder to find, right? So that's another thing that's been, I mean, it's like a current trend in real estate, I feel like, is finding those good deals is difficult. But had we, for the past 2 years, been just focused on that and taken more skinny deals, I mean, I think our portfolio, our rental portfolio, would have probably it'd be as full. We probably wouldn't have sold as many. I mean, we might have sold a few because, again, market was good. So being able to sell them was great. But again, I think we would have acquired more. I just think we would have been in a better position.
Long-term interest rates are tough. That's a tough animal too, right? Because
we got caught on that.
I mean, we originally anticipated a 1-year turnaround from purchase to rehab to be a 90% lease.
And shoot, rates were 4% when we were buying. Commercial rates were...
Well, they were lower.
Yeah.
I think our original loan was like 7.5 or 8, and now we're at like 9.5. And yeah, it's not ideal, but you can't predict the future. You don't know what's going to happen, and yeah, I think it just kind of circles back to me, like, you don't need to take crazy risks to have a good business and make good profits in your business. And I don't necessarily say that we took a crazy risk, but it was the biggest risk that we have taken thus far. I mean, we're almost $3 million into this project when it's all said and done, and that's the largest project that we've done. Our average project's $200,000 all in, purchase.
Like to get back to that. 200,
like to get back
250.
to that. But on the bright side, I mean, we're still sitting on about 50 single-family homes outside of a 40-unit complex that is the motel conversion. We have we have 3 commercial buildings. Couple commercial buildings as well. Still doing a few wholesales here and there. Still doing some burrs. We've pivoted into doing more seller financing on the exit, which I'm really, really excited about. A lot of benefits with the seller financing. In fact, you saw some of the texts come through today from some of our tenant buyers, our seller finance investors.
It's crazy. So we've managed rentals for, 10 years each combined, so 20-something years times portfolio of 50 to 100 on average. So we've got hundreds of years of tenant experience.
Yeah.
It's kind of the way I look at it, right?
A lot.
So hundreds of years of tenants or being property managers, owners, and they never improve a property. We've got a year or 2 years worth of tenant experience with this, and every single one of them is improving the property. I mean, it's crazy.
Every one of them.
So, I mean, it's
amazing. We got an email yesterday from a guy that's put $10,750 into one of our houses that we've sold him. He's got another $5,000 that he's planning. I went to a different one a week and a half ago, and they've spent probably $15,000 rehabbing and updating a property. The very first one we did about 6 months ago, I think he spent maybe $7,000 or $8,000, fixing up and rehabbing a property. So every one of these, they put at least $3,000 to $5,000 in. And I spoke at AREA just last week, and it was about 100 people in the room, and I asked the group of people in the room, I said, how many people here own rentals? And probably half the room raised their hand. And I said, how many of your tenants have put a roof on a house that they're renting? And, it's kind of a joke, it's kind of a,
why would they?
Right. And not a single person did. And everyone started laughing. And I was like, when's the last time that you had a tenant, put in new countertops into the home? There's something to be said about having rental properties, by all means. We have 50 plus of them. But seller financing has just been kind of something that we're doing that's new, and we're excited about it. We don't have to manage maintenance. Property management is also much, much simpler. Either you pay the note or you don't. And if you don't, you get, you leave or you get kicked out. With a tenant, You got to deal with the headaches, the toilets, the roof, the occupancy, all of these things. So
Yeah, I mean, we're still dealing with some of that.
we are, and we probably always will.
Yeah,
But
but
I'd like to pivot and shift more towards selling
it's
them.
just nice. So again, that's kind of the bright spot. We've got a ton of equity in that Bonterra deal. Planning to sell that, cash that out, and hopefully be able to reinvest a lot of it back into the business. Rebuild some of the single-family portfolio again into hopefully.
You still got about $1 million in equity,
Yeah,
give or take,
more of the
on that project. So it's definitely not a bad thing. But man, 2 years on a project, I mean, we could have got $1 million in equity in 6 or 8 months just doing burrs.
Yeah, a few flips.
A few flips, few burrs.
Yeah.
Yep, for sure. So
It's the way she goes, man.
that's the way she goes.
Yeah.
But hey, you live and you learn, and it's something we can add to the resume. It's a lot of times too, you don't really know what you want to do till you start doing it. And
I think that's a good point, man. I mean, again, do I want to flip giant commercial deals? No. Turns out I don't.
Turns out I don't. Yeah, agreed.
Like until $5-10 million is no big deal. We're not quite there.
That's right.
I mean,
exactly
a $5 million project, that's too much. So
It's a big project.
yeah.
But all in all, we're nearing the finish line, which is awesome. We're going to either sell it or refinance it, and then we're going to move on. And if we end up holding 40 doors, hey, not a problem. It's 40 more doors to the portfolio.
Yeah, and we're going to launch our software, which is going to be very
our
cool.
new software, which is awesome.
And we're going to be live streaming every day, 2:30.
That's right.
What time zone are we? CDT?
CST, CDT. I think it
CDT,
changes.
CST.
Give or take on the time zone.
Yeah,
daylight.
2:30 our time, and we're right there in the middle, St. Louis.
Yeah, middle of the day.
Yeah.
But obviously, we're gonna syndicate this out to the podcast as well, which will be awesome. And the goal would be to start being more consistent, like you said.
Well, and we got to have Marjorie pull some of our clips and put them elsewhere, stuff like that.
That's the part of the plan.
Yeah.
Yep. And maybe picking a daily topic, I think will be a good thing. So today's just kind of a recap. We're welcoming ourselves back to
welcome you
to getting back into making content and live streaming and podcasting.
I don't even necessarily mean a singular topic for the day.
Sure.
I just mean like a agenda for the top
For the
call.
education.
Yeah.
For
Like,
the
hey,
reason for being
let's
here.
talk about what's
For
going
sure.
on in the market, the interest rate, just something like that.
Absolutely. One of the things I want to definitely work on, and I say this really more pointing my finger at myself. Mike, you're really good at simplicity, organization, just keeping things simple. I envy you that. I envy you because you're really good at that. And
I envy you, you simpleton.
I'm trying to
What
be
Dave's
better.
saying,
That's
huh?
right.
You
but,
simple son of a bitch.
this business is incredibly simple. And I have a tendency to complicate things sometimes and just do a lot of unnecessary stuff. So
Like these microphones.
that's right. Hey, it's simple.
Like
It's
wireless.
less. We don't need all these cords and multiple. It's just less, But the point I want to make is that this is a simple business, and I want to just try to convey and show people how simple this business can be. Right? I mean, really, we wrote a book called The 3 Pillars of Wholesaling, and just to kind of simply review that book, it comes down to 3 things that it's going to take to be successful in real estate. It doesn't even matter if you're wholesaling, right? It doesn't matter if you're flipping, buying rentals, burring, seller financing, or just getting started trying to get your first wholesale deal. It comes down to 3 simple things, right? Number 1 is marketing. We're in the marketing business. So if you're not actively marketing yourself, your business, the products and services that you have to offer and provide people, you're not going to have any customers. So you have to get loud. You have to talk about those products and services. So again, marketing is number 1. Number 2 is making offers. And I can't tell you how many students Mike and I have coached over the years. I mean, it's probably, rounding 500 or 600 at this point, but a big chunk of them, 60, 70% of them that come into, the community or a coaching program or, a product that we offer, is brand new to the game. They've never done a deal. And one of the things I always ask them is how many offers have you made this week or this month? And, the answer's pretty consistent, 0 to only a couple. And one of the things that we're really good at is showing people, hey, you got to do marketing. That's just a fancy word for getting people on the phone. But then once you have them on the phone, once you have that lead, you need to nurture that lead and you need to make an offer to that lead. So number 2 is you got to make a lot of offers in this business. And number 3 is you got to follow up, right? I can't tell you how many times, I'll talk to somebody and make them an offer and you don't hear back from them. But if you follow up with them and call them, and you don't have to be overly aggressive. I think that's also another misconception. People think they got to call them every day. It doesn't have to be that way. You got to call them once a month or once a quarter, but you got to follow up. You got to let them know, hey, I'm here to help you. If you do want to sell this home, we have a solution for you. And if you follow up with them, you will get business. You will do deals. So marketing is the name of the game. Making offers is probably the single most important part of this business. If you don't make offers, you're never going to win a deal, ever. And then number 3 is you have to follow up on those leads, on that marketing, on those offers, on any and all aspects of a previous conversation, a previous relationship. Strengthen that relationship, keep building rapport, and ultimately just don't go away, right? I mean, Mike, our average deal is 4 to 6 months. Doesn't mean every deal takes that much time. That's not what I'm saying at all. But the average is that. I mean, how many touches do you think on average it takes, on average, right, to land a deal? Like 15?
Yeah, at least.
15 touches. So
Yeah,
that's a
I mean,
call,
a
a
lot.
text,
Yeah.
an email, a drop-in. Could be a postcard. I mean, just 15 different touches. And a lot of those people in the business that, are not having success or come to us in the beginning and are looking to find success, that's something that we really, really, kind of harp on, is you got to be consistent. You got to be consistent with the marketing, with the offer making, and the following up. And if you can just do those 3 simple things, I mean, you're going to fall into deals. You're going to land backwards into deals. But you got to be consistent with those 3 things. Anything you want to add to that?
Well said. No, I mean, again, I think that the making offers thing is the biggest challenge for a lot of people. A lot of people get caught in analysis paralysis where they're overthinking everything. I mean, I think it's just important to take more action than thinking. I don't know. I mean,
absolutely.
again, people overthink it. It's not that complicated. Real estate is pretty forgiving in terms of the numbers. If you if you think about a property, you're really thinking, oh, what's it worth at the end of the day? Well, it's very, very subjective, and you can change, what the property is worth by doing a few things. I mean, that's what's so neat about real estate. So that value is not fixed, which is pretty wild to think about. So again,
Yeah, and a lot of times it's not even like doing crazy rehabs, and like you don't need to put new kitchens in houses and throw roofs on them and update HVACs. Like sometimes, sure. Sometimes it's as simple as like just getting the stuff out of it and getting the smell out of it, and then turning around and wholesaling it or listing that property or just contacting a investor, buyer, rehabber, landlord, whatever, to say, hey, I got this deal. Come take a look. Make me an offer.
what can we tell people about our software? Or should we talk more about Real Estate School? Just push people there. So I don't even think we said where to go. It's reischool.com.
REI School, SKOOL.
SKOL, that's important. And that's going to forward over to it. And yeah, you can sign up there, check out the community, hopefully join us. Like Dave said, we're going to combine that with our software pretty soon.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. This is
And
going to be awesome.
the price will go up because obviously you'll be getting more at that point. Now, existing members obviously are going to be given the same pricing. Like we're not going to, hold anything back from anybody who's signed up earlier. But yeah, I think that check out Real Estate School would be my message for today.
Yeah.
We'd love to chat with you more in there, go over deals with you, things like that.
Yeah, provide training, provide support, provide community. There's courses in there. We've got all the contracts and calculators and assignment agreements and everything that you would possibly need to do this business. If it's not in there, we'll go in and create what's needed as needed, which is awesome. I think one more thing I want to just add and mention today is Mike, we've done about 1,000 deals combined. And we've almost been together 10 years in this business. I think we're like approaching the 9.5 year mark, give or take. And
We should look that up. I have no idea.
It's got to be right around there, give or take. But you know, we've lost money on 3 deals that I can think of, maybe 4. And I'm not afraid to talk about those. You know, those are great lessons. And but you know, the thing about that is the 3 or 4 deals. Let's just call it 4, whatever. Doesn't have to be exact. But the 4 deals that we've lost money on, we've made two mistakes simultaneously on all 4 of those deals. We overestimated the ARV, and we've underestimated the repairs, and we've done both of those. And the cool thing about that is a great lesson for everybody that's, you know, here and listening and watching, is that you can make one of those mistakes, which we have probably a couple hundred times, and still made money, right? You overestimate your ARV, not the end of the world, right? You underestimate your repairs, not the end of the world. In fact, you know, I'd say 30-40% of our rehabs we go over on. It's not a crazy amount, but it's a little over.
Yeah.
But when you make both of those mistakes, simultaneously, you put yourself into the red zone. I don't know if that's a thing or not, but the
we'll
danger
call it the
zone.
red zone.
Call it the red zone, right? But you know, you get into the danger territory, and if you think you're going to get 30 grand more for a property than you actually get, and then you go over rehab 20 or 30 grand, that's a $60,000 swing. You know, so I guess the biggest piece of advice, you know, that I want to convey to anybody that's new to the game, or even experienced individuals. I mean, we're 10 years into this full-time, 1,000+ deals. We're still learning.
Make one mistake, not 2.
Just don't make both of those mistakes, you know. And I think the best way to sum it up is this, guys. Be conservative on your ARVs. I mean, it's that simple, right? That's part 1. Be conservative on your ARV. If the spread on your ARV is, you know, 300 to 350, don't run your numbers on 350. Run them on 300. And if you get 350, it's icing on the cake. It's bonus, right? So be conservative on your ARV. That's part 1. Part 2 is be really liberal on your repairs. If you think your repairs are 30 to 40, estimate 40 or 45. And if you run your numbers on a liberal set of repairs and on a conservative ARV, right, you're going to make money on those deals. Right? And if you make more, let's say you get more for your ARV and your after repair value, your sale price, and you spend less on your rehab, it's just more money. It's more profit. It's icing on the cake. But you can't do both. So if you're new to the game or even an experienced investor, be conservative on those ARVs, be liberal on those repairs, and if you do that and run your numbers accordingly, you can really, again, back to the whole risk situation, you can really, really, really mitigate and reduce that risk big time, to where you're not going to be, you know, losing money. And really, if you break even on a deal, you know, some people might say, yeah, I learned something, I get it, sure, that's great, but you're still losing time. You're still losing whenever you break even. All that time and energy and stress and effort, it's really just not worth it. So, guys, head on over to Real Estate School, REISKOOL.com. We have an amazing community. All types of courses. We do weekly live trainings Wednesday nights. The community is there to help. We're both in there, very active in the community. You got other investors showcasing their deals, asking questions. You can learn a lot from each other. There's people in there that are partnering with each other, selling deals to each other. And then we're going to be bundling in our new software, which will be coming in about 2 weeks, which will help you pull lists of leads, skip trace those leads, drive for dollars, list stack. There's a dialer built in. It's just a phenomenal tool. And being able to couple this, I think that's a good word, couple it with community, courses, and coaching, you know, with all of the resources that you would possibly need to fix and flip, buy rentals, BRRRR, seller finance, wholesale, market. You can even send direct to mail in the new software. It's going to be coupled in there. So I don't want to mention pricing because that's going to change over time. But right now we literally have this to where it is affordable for everyone. And you know, we don't anticipate going crazy on pricing by any means. But over time, as the community grows, that price will increase. And you know, as softwares get released and new features.
Getting into the weeds.
Head over there.
REISchool.com.
Check it out.
Yeah,
check it out.
REISchool.com.
That's right.
Let's wrap her up.
All right,
Thanks
guys.
for watching, guys.
Awesome day. Have a great day. Talk soon. See you. Signing off.